Hey everybody, how you doing today? Hope you're doing well out there. This is Nick coming back at you with another video. Today we're going to do a little different topic. We're going to do some science today, so I hope everybody likes science. You hear a lot on the interweebs about this guy, the Liver King, and the question is he natty or not? What they call natty. Is he on steroids? He himself denies being on steroids, but a lot of people have arguments and they've made videos and all kinds of discussions about why they think he's on steroids. And looking at, here's the Liver King right here, you know, it would look like he's on steroids because he's so jacked, but he's like a mostly carnivore diet. He's not 100% meat, but he eats a lot of raw. He eats a lot of cooked and rare meats and beef testicles, things like that. And his workout routine is pretty wild. He does like extreme workouts twice a day, and so and I guess that's his argument as to why he's not taking any types of steroids. And so I really haven't seen any argument in support of his denial. The only things I've ever seen are people saying that he's not natty, meaning he takes some kind of steroids, but I've never seen a video of people kind of discussing why he could be natural. So I created this compilation today for everyone. There's a term, the word of the day here, nucleus overload. It's a term in kinesiology referring to how it's a certain type of training, high reps, very often. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but it pretty much creates like these old bodybuilders. A lot of these old bodybuilders, you know, they look very similar to the Liver King. And back in their day, they did like high reps with really low weight. Okay, so in this training mindset from like the early 1900s, they used these little 5-pound weights in such a way that they triggered what they call nowadays nucleus overload. And when we kind of examine some of the other great apes, their musculature, we see that they look very similar to this nucleus overload type of body style, because they're constantly using their muscles. There's no really like a rest period or a relaxing period. They're always walking around, climbing on trees, you know, using their muscles pretty hard every day. And so the muscles get really defined. And normally you don't see that because the chimpanzees have hair. And that's why I use this chimpanzee who, for whatever reason, doesn't have hair. And we can see it's very similar. There's a lot going on in this compilation I made, but let me just break all this down here. You know, because the Liver King, he's also a carnivore diet type guy. And if you type in the carnivore diet, there's a lot of before and after photos. And you can see that as the carb fat gets lower and lower, they get more definition. There's a lot of photos like this. Let me see here with the carnivore type guys. Yeah, so you can check out a lot of them, and you see kind of the same thing: a more pronounced, defined muscles, less and less body fat. So let's go back here to our compilation. So yeah, these old-timey guys, they did the nucleus overload engaging nucleus overload by using the small weights with extremely high repetition, high reps. And the Liver King pretty much does that because he has 2 intense workouts a day most days, and they're crazy high intensity, like beyond what I've ever seen anyone else do. So he's definitely triggering nucleus overload. And then based on his preferred diet choice at this time of mostly super high quality, beyond organic, raw, and lightly cooked things like bone marrow, he'll do that just raw and stuff. So he's got the muscle definition from the carnivore diet, plus the nucleus overload muscle definition from his insane workout ethics. So those are pretty much the 2 main reasons that, or as part of the argument that we could make, talking about why, or talking about, in support of the Liver King being natural. I mean, let's look at some of these other guys from the 1900s. A lot of these guys do the nucleus overload, and they use 5-pound weights, and they get crazy jacked, just like the chimpanzees. And it's, in that sense, the chimpanzees, they don't really eat that much meat, right? But that's just what happens to your muscles, not irrespective of what you're eating, of course. But the human physiology, for instance, we have a 7 times longer small intestine than a chimpanzee, and which would indicate that we do really well on a meat-based diet, high-fat diet. And so this is getting back to the old-timer guys triggering the nucleus overload. And from our modern perspective, yeah, these guys might be juiced up, right? But a lot of the guys nowadays, they don't know about this type of nucleus overload. I find not very many people talk about it. It's well known, kind of like in the scientific community, but I don't really see a lot of modern bodybuilders doing this type of thing. Yeah, now let's see the Liver King and the similarities. Yeah, and with very, very low carbs, like how the Liver King is, you're not going to develop that that body fat normally that we would be developing during the springtime, with a plant-based or a more plant-centered diet, similar to a bear. Yeah. Eating with the seasons. Yeah, see, these are more jacked guys. Around 1910s, around that time period. And so I typed in nucleus overload here for everybody, just so we can get an idea of what we're talking about. Let's see, there was a good picture somewhere. Yeah, so check out this topic. It's pretty interesting. Just to give you a little idea of what's going on. It's a kind of along the high intensity training style, but the old timers, they use really interesting weights, like bat weights and stuff. That's not really that much weight. So yeah, I hope everybody liked this video. I thought it was pretty interesting once I put this compilation together in support of the Liver King. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.